Are you ready to start?
I kind of have a headache. But
Oh my God, no.
What? What do you mean no? I do.
Remember earlier? And I was like, just don't think about it.
Yeah.
But I saw on TikTok that apparently in the CIA, they tell them to like not feel pain. You envision the area that's hurting and you say 5515 in your head. And supposedly you won't feel the pain anymore. Because I guess they're trying to teach the people in the CIA, if you're ever being tortured for information,
That's what you're supposed to do.
You're supposed to just keep thinking of the area that's hurting and envision that, and then you won't feel the pain.
I feel like that's so complex. It would make my head hurt worse.
Is it? Try it right now.
I don't know. I'll think about it.
Okay. But yeah, we should probably get into the podcast now. So welcome back to the podcast, episode 9. We're kind of starting this episode just getting into, we were talking about what happened the last week, and I feel like not that much happened, but the Queen died.
She did.
Which was really shocking. I feel like, obviously she was 96, so, you know, but.
It was bound to happen.
But.
At some point.
Yeah. I was confused, though, because I saw some videos the day that it happened, just saying, oh, there was an announcement that she's sick, and everyone was concerned. And then I swear, like 2 minutes later, I walked downstairs and Evan was like, the Queen died.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I just found out she was sick, which I don't know why it's been such a big thing for everybody in the US, I feel like TikTok. But yeah, so that was this past week. Her funeral is going to be this Friday, though. They take like 9 days to do it.
Next Monday.
Oh.
The 19th.
Okay.
Because it happened last Thursday.
Okay, so 9 days from the day it happened, which doesn't that seem like a long time?
It seems very long because I feel like normally or a lot of times, at least around here, funerals happen like the weekend of somebody passing. Like
whenever the soonest.
Yes.
But I still feel like even then, if it's too far away, usually people do it even during the week, like within a couple days. So,
yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of makes me feel weird that
there's so much time between.
Yeah. And I just
then.
saw something too that they move the body around. Like,
for why?
I don't know. But it hasn't been in one spot.
Are they like, is it for people to like see the body or like to protect the body from somebody trying to take it?
I think it might just be so that different areas can mourn, or
that makes sense.
I'm not sure, but yeah. And we were kind of talking about this too. 96 seems like a really long time to live.
It's a lot of life.
And first of all, would you want to live that long?
So yes and no.
That's kind of my feeling on it too.
It's like if I'm living that long and I'm not doing well, I'm not fully there.
First of all, the memory thing scares me the most. And I think like if that ever happens, just get rid of me.
I'll let someone know.
Because I feel like I just wouldn't. That's the thing. If you're going to live that long, then you obviously want to be healthiest as possible.
Right.
Like if you're immobile or like you start, I don't know. I just feel like once you start losing the quality of life,
right,
then do you want to still, I don't know. But then like, what are you going to do about it? Because I know people who have known people that live really long, and by the time, they always say like by the end they were like asking,
they were ready
to go, like they were like, please take me out. So I don't know, I think about that, but I don't know anybody in my family that, first of all, I barely know anyone in my family, but the ones that I do, they don't live that long. So
yeah, I don't know too many people in my family either. But another question I've seen posed is, like in the case of vampires where they have an internal life, would you even want that? Like, would you want to live that long, or do you think you would get bored with a life like that?
I think if I knew that I had an eternal life, I wouldn't get bored. I feel like you'd almost feel like you could do more. Well, you obviously could because you have more time, but it's almost like less pressure to do things, so you actually do them. Because I feel like in this lifetime, everyone's like, life is so short. You need to do this. You need to do that. But then,
Right.
like, you also have to have a job and make money and, like, have kids while you have the time. And there's so many things that you have to cram into the life that you have, that if you had an immortal life and you could just, like, change jobs, move cities, like, do whatever you wanted because you're not going anywhere, then you would do more because there's less pressure to do everything. I don't even know if that makes sense.
I see that. Just so much changes in life in that amount of time.
I know. And that's the thing too. So it's kind of with what's been going on with the queen. So obviously she was born in a very different time. A lot has changed over the last 100 years. Because even I think about this. We're a fourth of how old she was. And already so much has changed in our lifetimes that, like, can you imagine what 3 more time chunks of this is gonna
gonna be
like
wild.
Like, we've seen so much, even just, and I think for us especially because our generation was born right at the end of, like, no technology barely, to, like, now where, like, everything is.
It's come so far because when we grew up,
so quick,
we had household phones. Like, that was it. Cell phones weren't really a thing. Like, I would have to call and be like, is Haley there?
In the very beginning, that was once we were like 5.
That's
in the
true.
beginning, there was barely, like, yes, there was house phones, but barely. Not everybody had a home phone. And, like, then I remember too, once we were like 4, 5, that's when everyone started getting pagers, which,
yes,
if you're listening and you don't know what a pager is, because that's literally how far we've come since then.
That's so true. There's probably some people that
don't know what a pager is.
Never heard of it.
So you would wear a pager, like, on you. Somebody would beep your pager, and that means they need to talk to you, so go to your home phone so you can call them.
Such a crazy concept to where we are at now.
Yeah, and even, like, AOL, AIM Messenger, MySpace, those were all the beginnings of social media, but we had no social media before that. Like,
we really didn't, and that wasn't until we were in
middle school.
Yeah.
Like, I think 5th grade, the end of 5th grade was when we finally got, like, MySpace and AIM.
I feel kind of fortunate that we got to see both sides of it because I think, one, we got to have really nice childhoods where we would play outside. Socialize, gain those skills. And then also, because social media and technology advanced so quickly throughout our lives, I feel like our generation is really good about adapting to technology quicker and picking up on changes quicker because we lived through it.
I still will never be able to grasp, though, for the rest of my life, I don't care, how you can call somebody on a phone from right here and 100,000 miles away, they can pick up the phone and hear your voice.
With no lag time.
Where is it go? Where does the voice go? In the air?
I don't know.
Where does it go to get there?
I don't know.
I understand there's towers. There's towers and this and that. And that's fine for, like, the signal thing. But the physical sound of my voice waves, where the hell are they going? Where are they going? They're traveling in the air. So where the air goes all the way to the towers? Like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
No, there's some things I will never understand, and that is one of them. Because you say this often, and I have no answer.
I know, because I think now it freaks me out more with iPhones and phones that we like, cell phones, because when we used to have house phones, I could visualize that better. I'm like, okay, it's going through this wire.
Yes.
And then the wire is connected here. And then somehow like all the wires are connected or something. So that made more sense in my brain. And especially because people probably don't even know this, and I don't know the details, but there used to be people who worked in like buildings that would like have to connect the phone things.
I know what you're talking about. I feel like I thought that was really cool when I was little.
Yeah.
And you would see that on TV shows.
Yeah. So like people would literally have to physically transfer the
Call.
switch to like move the call to the correct person, like a call center, like to get the phone calls to work. And now it's like, I can't visualize it. I can't understand it. And it makes me so uncomfortable sometimes. It just blows my mind. Like Wi-Fi, like I can understand Wi-Fi better than I can understand
Same.
the call situation. Because that to me, again, okay, there's a tower with like a signal we can't see giving us the service.
The internet. But your
rest
voice.
of it,
Your voice. And like millions of other people's voices all at once.
Yeah.
Just in the phone, out to nowhere. No, a lot of things have changed. I don't know why when you said that, it reminded me of when we used to go to the movies when you were little, you would have to like call and listen or like look in the newspaper to see what times movies were showing. And now you can just look it up online. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't? You would have to like call the movie theater and listen.
But I also remember us going to Blockbuster and physically having to buy DVDs or rent them in order to watch a movie at home. Now you turn on the thing, I literally speak into my remote, which how does it understand me? And I say, you know, whatever, House of Dragons, and it just puts it on whatever I say I want to put on. How?
And then think about this. The Queen, all the advancements she saw.
Because that was just the last
That's just a chunk of like our
years.
lives and all the different experiences that have happened. And that's only like a handful of the many that have changed.
And I feel like too, people always give older people a hard time about not understanding technology
It
or like
makes
keeping up
sense.
with the times. Think about it though. We had, I don't know, 10 years of our lives where we had to socialize, we had to go out of the house, we had to do all this stuff. And so the older generation is used to getting their information physically, like in person to person or through a paper or through something physical to touch. Everything now is non-existent. It's just in this cloud that's how everyone exchanges information. And I understand why they don't get it.
Yeah.
Why would they have ever went out of their way to pick up an iPhone when it first came out, when they felt connected to the people around them already?
No, 100%. In the defense of elderly people, like when they'll say, or I feel like the running joke is, oh yeah, back in my day, I had to walk up and downhill through the rain to get to school or to get to work. But me and Brian were just talking about this. We're like, when we are older and elderly, I feel like things like cars are going to be so advanced that you could just get in your car and sleep and then like wake up and be wherever you're going. And we're going to be like, back in my day, I used to have to be awake when I drove to work, when I drove to school. Like I didn't have the convenience of just going to sleeping in my car.
Or like teleporting could exist.
Yeah,
and then
if that exists. Back in my day, I had to
go on a plane and drive to the airport and go here and dude.
That's what it's going to be like, I feel like. That's going to be the evolution of getting to school up the mountain.
And I saw a TikTok. It was funny because I texted Britt and I was sending her about how the Queen died. I was like, the first thing I said was, dude, can you just imagine being 96, how much has happened over her lifetime? Because there was a lot of like controversy of things that she went through or witnessed or was a part of because of how long she's been alive. And I was like, can you just imagine what's going to happen by the time we are that age? And then right after I sent you that, I saw a TikTok of a guy explaining how pretty much that concept, but how it's also so exciting because humanity is just not as old as we think it is. And the advancements that have actually happened in an alarmingly short period. So then it's like, okay, if this could happen over 100 years, what's going to happen in the next 100 years? And hopefully it's like good, positive changes, but you just never, you just never know. So it's exciting, but also could be alarming. And that kind of brings us to our next topic, because I've been seeing TikToks of Buzz Aldrin, who is the U.S. astronaut who was one of the men who went to the moon landing. And so apparently we've only had one moon landing.
I did not know this until about 10 minutes ago. That's wild to me.
Brittany, if the astronauts aren't going to the moon, what are they up to?
I don't know. I thought we were making regular trips to the moon.
Same.
I don't know. I just feel like I feel like it was a big thing when we were younger that TV shows or movies like Mary-Kate and Ashley would go to like NASA and go in that chair that spins around and it feels like you're like anti-gravity. Like, this is what the moon feels like. So what are we training all of these people for if not regularly visiting the moon?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what are the astronauts up to if it's not that?
We need to know.
But the thing was, so there's a lot of conspiracies. And I've seen them before about the moon landing never happened. It was all staged because that was when we were in the Cold War with the Soviets. Yes. So we were competing, and that it was like a green screen and the shadows were off, and basically everybody picking it apart saying it was fake. And whatever, people come up with conspiracies for everything. But as of late, Buzz Aldrin is now in his elderly age. And whenever he does interviews and gets asked questions, sometimes he slips up and says that it never happened. And, you know, that's a guy that would know.
He was supposedly
there. And so one of the videos was a little girl asking him, why have we not been back? And he was basically like, well, we've never been back because we never went in the first place. And if we never went in the first place, he's like, I would like to know just why we never actually went. And then another interview of him being asked what was the scariest part of going to the moon. And he was like, the scariest part was that it never actually happened. So
I can't fathom
I'm paraphrasing, by the way, but that's pretty much what it was. And then, so then people are like, okay, is he slipping up because he's in his old age and just isn't answering the question correctly? Or is he in his old age and remembering accurately and being like, I'm not going to keep lying about this?
Yeah, he's over it at this point. What does he have to lose?
But I'm sorry. In 1972, we could go to the moon. But in 2022, we don't just
with
go.
all this advancement of everything else in our lives.
Right, like that we've just been talking about. People are sending satellites up and spaceships up and whatever. You would think they would want people to go back.
Beats me. And you would also think, I don't know, because if it wasn't true, I feel like an organization like NASA or somebody would wipe that from the internet and wipe that from TikTok, because you've seen that with like other things people don't want to get out. That mysteriously vanishes from the internet.
But the thing is, I have in the past screen recorded conspiracies that I see just to see if they get deleted, so I still have it and can show people. Yes, because this has happened where I've been talking about like, oh, I saw this conspiracy theory and I thought it was like really well thought out, and I've gone to show the person that I was like talking to about it, and it's gone. And then I'm like,
joking.
So
the
was it
screen
real?
Recording?
So no.
Oh, the video. The old
so
video.
Now,
okay.
like if I see a good conspiracy theory, I'm not even super, I never believe them, but I like to think that way. Like I like the critical thinking of it.
Yeah.
And analyzing the things. It's shady, if you will.
Mm.
And so now if I see a good thought out conspiracy theory, I screen record it.
Love that.
Because then I have the tea.
Yeah. I mean, you know
But-
me, I'm not ashamed to screenshot anything.
Yeah, we were just talking about this earlier too. So, you can't screenshot on Snapchat because it alerts the person.
Mm-hmm. I'll even screenshot on Snapchat.
But Brit screenshots on Instagram stories
all the time
because it doesn't show them right now. But my biggest fear is that like one day Instagram's going to be like, screw it. We're telling everybody who's screenshotted stuff before. And so I refuse to screenshot anything. I have literally gone as far as to take an old phone, charge it up, turn it back on so I could take a picture of the phone.
I've definitely done that with Snapchat a few times, but when it comes to Instagram, I'm like, who's going to know? How are they going to know? And if it ever becomes released that you can see the receipts of who screenshot them, I'm in probably a world of trouble.
You're going to be in a lot of
I'm
hot
be
water.
exposed.
Honestly, at that point, though, so what? It was so long ago. Why are you looking at that?
Yeah. Why do you
screenshotted
care?
it? That's
You
not
put it
your
out to the
problem.
world to see.
True. That's
You know?
facts. Yeah. Well, unless they're on private.
I don't know if I've
Or
ever
you know what the
screenshot someone's
best
private story.
Sometimes the best private or the best stories are the ones that are like just friends, and you're like, they think of me as a friend, but here I am scheming, like screenshotting this and showing people that aren't on the just friends. I don't think I'm in anybody's just friends except maybe you.
Really? I'm randomly on people's and I'm like, really? You think this of me? That's crazy.
But speaking of Instagram, so we're going to do a segment where I answer questions that you guys ask. So I didn't ask me anything. And, I got a lot of questions, a lot of good questions, but I feel like a good first question to answer, since a lot of questions were about my dad, the first question I feel like I should answer: does it bother me when I get asked about my dad? Because a lot of the questions were about my dad. So I feel like the best way to say this is yes and no.
Clear answer.
Super clear. Good ask me anything response. No, but honestly, it's to a point. So like, I obviously expect it. And there are certain things I can understand why people are just genuinely curious about.
Right.
As anyone would be when you've kind of grown up like half in the spotlight. But then once it gets past that point, though, I'm like, I'm a person too. I think I have more to offer than just my dad. So it becomes like tricky because like I get it, but then like I said, after a certain extent, I'm not going to speak on behalf of anyone. I'm not going to answer stuff that I don't specifically have the answers to. So, I mean, yeah, I guess yes and no.
Yeah.
Is that a good response for
I think so. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, because I feel like growing up, when it would happen, I would get more bothered by it because I was like, why do people care? Like, I don't know, because I was young and I didn't totally understand the situation.
Right.
I'm just like, that's my dad. Like, I don't ask you about your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain things that, yeah, like, that's just weird that you want to know that. But then, like, things that have been a little bit shared, I understand why people are like, okay, is this true or whatever. But some stuff, it's just like, that's weird. Let's move on. Like, but yeah, so I guess that's our first, like, ask me anything, and then we'll continue answering questions. Some are just random, like questions about college that you guys asked, or questions, I don't know, about hobbies, stuff like that. So I plan on answering more questions each episode. So should I do like a Google form or something?
Oh yeah, we could add a Google form.
I'll add like a Google form for the Ask Me Anything because obviously the story goes away, so it's already gone. But if you have a good question and you want to hear the answer, make sure you keep listening and we'll do the Google Doc.
Yeah. I'm just disappointed that you didn't pull any of my questions to be asked. I asked some. I don't remember. They were really sarcastic.
The first question I saw was, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, that was me.
And I was like, okay, what? But you always say that every time. I'm like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? So yeah, that's gonna be the Ask Me Anything segment, and then we really didn't have like a what the F this week.
No,
we talked about football last week. I guess we had one what the F. We weren't sure if we were gonna talk about it, but we might as well because when else are we gonna talk about this? Like the fowling.
Oh yeah.
So go ahead.
You have to explain what fowling is because I feel like some people might not know.
Oh.
I don't know if it's a Michigan thing. I'd like to think it's not. But I didn't know what it was until... I would not
think it was a Michigan thing, but if so, then yeah, like other people need to do it because it's kind of fun. I mean, we both had bad first experiences, and that's kind of what we realized. So right. I had a little like Lions watch party on Sunday because it was their first game, and we played yard games and we played fowling, which is you throw a football at pins. What are they called?
Yeah, bowling pins.
Wow, my brain works. So you throw the football at the bowling pins, and then you just verse people. So we did like teams of 2. First of all, I am absolutely terrible at throwing a football.
Really?
My arm, I thought was coming out of the socket after like first throw, and I just had a lot of respect for football. But no, but we were talking about it, and we both had very bad first fowling experiences. So I went with Evan and a group of friends of his that I wasn't really friends with. So, you know, I'm trying to be really nice and just have a good time, have no complaints, just whatever. And so I've never foaled before. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And I go up first, me and Evan versus another couple. And the guy on the other couple throws the ball. And first throw of the entire evening, everybody's watching, waiting for their turn, hits the floor and just straight up to my nose. My whole head goes back, and then I come back down and just blood.
That's the worst case scenario.
And I didn't want to make a scene because I'm not close with these friends that are there.
Right, just holding all in.
So I'm like holding my nose.
Literally holding it all in.
Run out. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's fine. Everyone's like, are you okay? I'm like, oh, yeah, no problem. And so, like, I go to the bathroom and I, like, take my hands off and there's just blood coming down. I'm like, oh, my God, this was literally worst case scenario. So one of the girls came in and checked on me. But, again, I was still trying to be like, oh, no, it's no problem. And, you know, while there's blood pouring down my face. But after that, I just didn't play. So this was my first time this weekend actually playing. And I was not good at it, but
you had fun.
I had fun, and I recommend playing it. It's definitely a good yard game or experience to go do because we have like a place that has like axe throwing, fowling, and it's fun.
All the things. What I realized as you were saying that was my similar experience wasn't even my first time fowling.
How many times have you foaled?
Twice. The first being this was my ex-boyfriend. I was meeting his family for the first time.
See, bad idea.
And there was fowling in the backyard. And they were like, oh, Brittany, are you going to play fowling? And I was like, oh, no. They're like, what do you mean you're not going to play fowling?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I'll foal. Bad idea. I just could barely throw the ball. It was really embarrassing. I was sweating.
That's not as bad as
I could barely throw
being hit.
But then I did get it.
Exactly.
That's the this is what we talked about earlier. I went to one of those situations where they have fowling. It wasn't even my turn to go. I was just with friends, minding my own business. There's a yellow line that you have to stand behind if you're gonna like hang out, chat while other people are fowling. So I'm just minding my own business. I get decked in the face with a ball out of nowhere.
Someone had it out for you.
They really did. It's like, what's going on? And that was within like 5 minutes of being there. So I can't say I've ever had the best experience with that sort of game.
It's something that if you can throw a football, you probably have a lot of fun.
I think I could throw a better football these days than I could previously.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Okay, I think that's it. Are
Yeah.
we going to get into our shady stories now?
Yeah, we have 3 this week.
Okay, I like what I see. They're not that long.
They're short, sweet, and I think that they're really good.
Okay. Want me to do number 1?
Yeah.
Okay. We can't forget to do our shady meter either.
Okay.
Now that we're starting that. Okay, so shady story number 1. When I was in the 3rd grade, I let out... Are you serious? I feel like you just want me to say this to the camera. Like
I do. Look the camera in the eye as you say it.
When I was in the 3rd grade, I let out a silent fart in the classroom. It slowly spread throughout the room to the point that everyone could smell it, but didn't know what it was. The teacher got us out of the classroom for a bathroom break to figure out where the smell was coming from. While we were in line, he came by sniffing each of us to see if it was coming from one of us. We then went to the library to finish class, and when we came back to the classroom, the custodian was inside wearing a respirator mask and inspecting the heater to see if it was coming from there. I never told anyone this story and kept it a secret until I was 21 years old.
I think that's hilarious.
Dude, every detail of this got better.
No.
It's so good. So they literally got out of the class. Teacher was sniffing them. The custodian had a respirator.
Do they keep that on hand at the school? Like, is this a normal occurrence?
Dude, the fact that it lingered long enough for a custodian to be called and get a respirator mask just to go check this out.
Like, they were concerned. At least they didn't evacuate the school thinking there was a gas leak.
There was a gas leak. It was this guy. Or girl, I don't know who
That's
this
so
was.
bad.
That is amazing. I love that. That is shady because these poor people in this room, they had to finish class in a separate room. That's incredible. Okay, go ahead. You can go to the second one.
No, the meter.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm the one who said it.
You said we can't forget.
I just got too caught up. I'm sorry. It was too funny. Okay, well, this isn't really that shady.
It's like a different kind of shady.
But it's hilarious.
It's super funny.
I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. I'm sorry. It's not shady, but it's hilarious. Like, it just couldn't get any better. The details just, every single one was better than the other.
Good.
So, to me, that's a 10 out of 10.
I can't argue with that. I think it's funny. I laughed the whole time, so.
Different kind of shady.
Yeah. Shady story number 2. I had this friend in college who signed up to be my roommate without even asking if I was okay with it. Then she proceeded to be the worst roommate ever. She was a complete slob. She stole my anxiety medication. She knew my little brother for 1 week and purposely left her dirty, still wet vibrator under her pillow on the bed that I asked her if he could sleep on. She came in when I was on a date and just got naked. The list goes on and on. Finally, I had it. I took her absolute favorite body spray that I knew she sprayed on herself multiple times a day, and I just peed in it a little. It's probably the most disgusting thing I ever did, and I still to this day have not confessed to it. God only knows how long she was spraying herself with that bottle. I still don't regret it. Bitch had it coming. That's
What's with the bodily functions?
I don't know. I guess there's a common theme between these last two stories.
I feel like some of the things she was doing in the beginning, like the roommate, not the person who wrote the story.
Yeah.
Is just like weird. Like obviously you're never going to totally get along with a roommate. It just never happens. There's always going to be something about the way you live versus the way they live that you just don't match on. But, you know, it's one thing to leave dishes in a sink. It's one thing to not take the trash out. It's one thing to have your clothes everywhere. But to get naked, put your vibrator, like maybe this girl had like a sexual thing.
Yeah, something
Something
and
was
stealing
wrong.
medication.
Maybe we're really reaching here, but maybe she had a drug or alcohol problem that
Could
was
be.
causing her to act out. Because first of all, yeah, stealing medication, that is a crime. And second of all, getting naked, also to people who don't want to see it, that is a crime again. Putting a vibrator under a little brother's bed pillow.
Disgusting. Uncalled for.
Something is wrong here.
Nasty. And I won't stand for it.
But of all the things to get revenge on a roommate, she thought to pee in the...
There definitely was probably better ways to go about it. Switching roommates. But
that is too sensible. That would have been too easy.
not an option. Peeing in the what was it, body spray? Disgusting, but you have to do what you have to do, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't have to do that.
I feel like that's just a lot of work for her.
Honestly, yeah.
There was a lot of thought into that, and I wish it would have been something else.
I mean, like, did she have like a funnel?
I don't want to know, to be quite honest with you.
So that's a lot of work. But in terms of shadiness, really shady. But also deserving.
I feel like it was less shady what she was doing. Like,
More shady what the roommate was doing.
More shady what the roommate was up to in
like
the beginning.
A 7.5?
I'll say like 7.58.
Okay. 8.
Because again, if we're looking at it from what the roommate was doing,
Yeah.
It's literally
deserving.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Shady story number 3. When I was 18, I had added my neighbor on Snapchat. I've known her since I was like 11 years old and I've always found her attractive. But obviously she was way older than me and she had a daughter that was 1 year older than me. The case is that I added her on Snapchat and decided to test my luck and started to flirt with her. One night, we decided to meet up after work, so around 1 a.m., we were sitting in the car talking about life, and one thing led to another, and we did our thing. It continued for a year, and one day, I decided to call it off because she was getting too attached to me. But a month later, I started talking to her daughter, and I was 2 years in dating her. One day at a family function, I was alone for 5 minutes with her mom, and we started to kiss, and we got caught by her daughter.
Isn't that wild?
Now, this is so much worse than the sister is going with the same guy.
I know.
What? Wait, what? This poor daughter is going to be traumatized for life.
Yep.
And never trust her mother again.
No.
Oh my God. So, like, how much older was... Oh my God, wait. So, I feel like we could do the math on this.
What do you mean we can do the math?
Like, I want to know how old the mom was. And, like, how many years were between the mom and the daughter?
Well, the son was 18.
No,
and had
there's nothing about the mom's age, though.
No, we just know the son and the daughter were a year apart. So, I mean, at least...
Brittany, if your boyfriend was kissing your mother...
Absolutely not. Nope.
I mean, obviously this guy's done for, but then the mother, you can't get rid of your mom. Like...
No, you can't.
She's never gonna trust her mother.
That's really unfortunate.
This is what we were saying, though. We called it with the family functions being the problem.
It's always comes back to that, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you're gonna be in a weird situation like this,
leave family out.
You can't be going to family functions. You just can't. But yeah, I would say on a shady meter, this is 10 out of 10. That is your mother doing you dirty. Come on.
Be better. Do better.
And I mean,
but send us the stories if they do happen.
I feel like it's almost even worse because in the beginning of their relationship, he obviously never told his girlfriend, like, yeah, I used to date your mom. Like, he dated the mom for a whole year. It says right here.
Yeah.
It continued for a year with the mom. So, that's like, insane. It wasn't just like, oh, he, like, had a thing for MILFs and wanted to hook up with her and, like, that was it. Like, they had a whole ass relationship
and then
for a
he
year
went to the daughter.
And then dated the daughter. And there's no way the daughter would have been okay with it. So, like,
if she had any inkling that there was something going on them before. I wonder if, this is my thought process too, is like, if the guy started dating the daughter initially to, like, get back at the mom, like, if things ended badly, and almost did it out of, like, revenge, like, haha, now I'm gonna date your daughter. But I'm not even,
like, I am mad at this guy, but I'm way more mad at the mom.
Yeah.
Like, you could, like, there's so many people in the world. You had to go with the daughter.
But and the daughter caught it.
Yeah, but then it's like the mom just knew and didn't tell her daughter. I feel like that's too, like, how would, if you, let's say you had a thing for younger guys, whatever, you know, he was 18, they decided to hook up, and then, you know, once her daughter started bringing him around or saying that, oh yeah, I'm dating this guy or whatever, how would the mom immediately be like, immediately no?
Yeah, no, not a good idea.
This guy's a walking red flag. Like, she should have warned her daughter
about what happened.
Instead,
because it went on for 2 years. And that's the thing is, like, they were dating for 2 years. So I'm thinking they probably went to a lot of family functions together.
And was there always just a weird tension?
Probably.
Freaking sick. Freaking sick. Well,
I can't.
Anyways, that's a 10 out of 10 from me.
I mean, how do you beat that?
I hope we
Betrayal.
Find out. So as we rip this one apart, please keep submitting your shady stories to the link under the video. And I think it's in the Instagram, or is it not in Instagram?
No, maybe I think it is.
It's under each video. So if you're listening, make sure you go to our YouTube and look under the description of the video. Because we like reading them, even though
they're fascinating.
Yeah, we sit here and, like, tear them apart at the end, but it's all in good fun, and we like reading them. And yeah, so go submit your shady stories, and your questions will come up with the Google form.
Yes, we'll add that too
for the questions. And yeah, that will be also in the description, and we will see you on the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.